Body awareness can be a major struggle for many neurodivergent people as well as people on the Ehlers-Danlos spectrum. And since these conditions overlap each other so much, it can be kind of hard to tease apart what aspects of poor body awareness are due to neurodivergence and what are due to connective tissue disorders, or indeed if that distinction is even useful. But rather than dive into a debate on semantics in this video, I want to explore some of their commonalities. Now, in order to talk about body awareness, we need to wrangle up some fancy scientific terms, and those are proprioception and interoception. If you're not familiar, proprioception is your brain's sense of the location of different parts of your body at any given time. Meanwhile, interoception is the brain's ability to accurately interpret body signals so that you can have a good sense of the state of your body. This includes stuff like hunger, thirst, pain, body temperature, or whether or not you need to go to the bathroom. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about interoception in this video, primarily because it hasn't been studied particularly well in EDS, so we don't have a whole lot except for some anecdotal data right now, but hopefully that'll change in future, so definitely stay tuned. But back to proprioception. Now, for the most part, people on the neurodiversity and EDS spectrums both tend to struggle with proprioception. They typically have poorer than average proprioceptive ability. Although that doesn't mean that some people on these spectrums can't develop exceptional abilities like dance or talent in various sports, but they still may struggle with things like clumsiness in day-to-day activities or fine motor tasks like handwriting. Now, while most people probably think of these problems more as motor coordination issues, which they certainly express themselves as, much of the root of this discoordination probably lies in atypical sensory information coming from the skin, joints, and muscles that are fundamental in helping us build our ever-changing mental map of where our body is in relation to itself and the rest of the world. Without a refined and continually updated mental map, our ability to physically navigate that world becomes more challenging. So at its root, this is definitely a sensory issue. Now, why do people with EDS-HSD have proprioceptive problems? Studies have definitely shown that people on this EDS spectrum fare poorly when blinded and asked to estimate the position of their hands compared to people without EDS. And these results don't correlate with the extent of pain that the person with EDS experiences, suggesting that probably a lot of the impairment in proprioception isn't solely within the joints, as was once assumed, but it's impaired in the skin and muscles as well, both of which provide important feedback to the brain in the form of stretch signals. In addition, it seems that the fatigue that a lot of zebras experience may also influence their proprioception, suggesting that this ability could vary across time. People with muscle fatigue, even in non-clinical populations, are known to function more poorly in proprioceptive dependent tasks, suggesting that clinical fatigue may have similar effects. In fact, the majority of people with EDS-HSD in one study reported that their motor coordination noticeably worsened when they were experiencing symptoms such as brain fog. And I don't know about you, but when I'm having brain fog, I'm far more likely to bang up against door frames or whack my hand against countertops or something. Now, when it comes to people with autism and ADHD who also often struggle with fluctuating fatigue for a variety of reasons, including sleep problems, it raises a similar possibility that this fatigue could play ongoing roles in their proprioception and motor coordination as well. And when it comes to the assumed causes of proprioceptive problems in neurodivergent people, the medical profession has typically assumed that the root lies in the brain because when studying autism or ADHD, we've kind of had brain tunnel vision. So it's assumed that the proprioceptive impairment in autism and ADHD is a neurobehavioral symptom similar to social challenges or executive dysfunction. And while that may well be part of the cause, I think because of this overlapping relationship with the EDS-HSD, we're starting to consider that maybe not all of our challenges are located solely in our brains. Some of them may actually be out in our body, including sensory nerve endings. Now, I will also say that there is definitely consistent evidence of neuropathy or damage of pain-related nerves in the skin in both EDS and autism. Basically, what they found is that the pain nerves have lost some of their structural complexity, which unfortunately seems to make them, shall we say, somewhat angry and over-responsive, and that in turn can lead to stuff like hyperalgesia and allodynia. Now, hyperalgesia is the tendency to have an exaggerated pain response to stimuli that are normally somewhat painful. So, for example, in my case, a blood pressure cuff. Normally, people consider it only very mildly painful or at most uncomfortable, but for like the last decade or so, I actually find them quite painful, and I find myself just bearing down to get through the experience. Anyways, allodynia, on the other hand, means having a pain response to things that really shouldn't be painful in the first place. And I'll most consistently get this when my cubital tunnel syndrome is acting up and my pinky and ring fingers on whatever arm is affected that day are painful to touch, or even when exposed to cold temperatures or even cool temperatures like cool water, that can actually be quite painful too. Now, aside from the pain fiber neuropathy, there's also all of our autonomic issues as well, which involves a whole nother group of peripheral nerve fibers. All of this together suggests that other sensory receptors in the skin and muscles responsible for detecting stretch could very well be affected too, leading to some of our proprioceptive challenges. So anyways, our crappy proprioception, it could be our brains, but it could also be our struggles with fatigue and poor sleep, and it's probably also nerve fiber damage and the fact that they're just not bringing those signals in properly. And there you have it. These are some of the probable reasons why both neurodivergent folks and zebras have body awareness issues, especially proprioceptive issues. Anyways, that's our time for this week. Again, thanks for all your patience since I've been slower putting out videos lately because we're moving in a couple of months, but I also want to make sure I'm putting out quality videos too. So I'll probably be dropping a new one every couple of weeks until we're moved and finally settled. So thanks again for joining me down this week's rabbit hole. Let me know your experiences with proprioception. For instance, have you ever managed to creatively break a bone or sprain a joint thanks to your clumsiness? I know I certainly have. So let me know in the comments. Anyways, thanks again, and until next time, ciao.